is Ruckus. Thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, and share. 10-8. Yo, what's going on, kids? It's good to be back. I haven't been on in about a month. I was down and out there for a hot minute. Let me get this. There we go. That's fine. SP74, how are you? I have Kristen, Turbo, and Aspen coming on tonight. Aspen's at a party. He's on his way home. Dan, how are you, sir? Kelly O, thank you for becoming a member. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Olivia, too, at Shaken. Jinx, I got your sticker ready to go on the back of the car, right next to the send Rip from that Yellowstone. My wife likes that guy. Don Spain, how are you? Cryptex, what's going on? You've been doing some great lives, buddy. CJK, hello. Let's see here. Ass crack is a Delulu cuck bish. What's up? Oh. Got a prayer walk for Abby and Libby coming up. So if you guys can make that, please do. James, how are you, sir? That wasn't French, Don. That was English. Let's see who else we got in here. Just want to say hello to everybody. CJK. We got Tommy. Fire and Ice, what's going on? Robin B, hello. She Warrior 64, how are you tonight? God, this feels good. It's just like riding a bike. I miss doing this. Fabby Lash. But I was down and out. Turns out I had pancreatitis. What a shocker, huh? A 60-year-old, almost 61, drunk Irish guy with a problem with his pancreas. But that was some painful stuff, I'm here to tell you. But once that Dilaudid started coming every 2 hours, it was party time on the 3rd floor. 63 Clocks, how are you? I ended up having 2 roommates. I was there for 5 days, I think, and ended up exchanging numbers with them. We had a blast. I was snitching on them, telling the nurses they were doing things that they weren't. And shit like that. Oh, when the doctors came in, I was giving them a hard time. I do what I want, especially when I'm on Dilaudid. What's up, Chuck? Necessary Evil, how are you, sir? Crash, Blue-Eyed Trucker, how are you? I hope my Temu order was not in your truck. For those of you who don't know, Blue-Eyed Trucker Blake is he's a trucker, and he got rear-ended by another trucker the other day at a light, and luckily he was there because there was a car in front of him. The trucker behind him fell asleep, from what I understand, but I'm glad you're okay, buddy. I like Blake. Heather Marie, how are you? I try and jump on Blake's in the morning. He stays up all night. Oh, we got the national treasure in the house. I'm changing my name to Mr. Sherper when supporting Ruckus and carrying his man purse, suitcases, and beauty products. Yeah, did the initials FO mean anything to you, Steve? Steve's a blast to hang out with. He should be coming by here in the next couple days. I may be moving soon, so that's putting a damper on things as well. Pitbull Mom, happy Sunday to you too. Good to see you. There's Miss Turbo. This should be fun. Turbo's only done one other live. She's done pre-recorded stuff and posted it, and she's very, very thorough. Hi, Deb. As is Deb. They're 2 of my go-to people. Beth Gonzalez, how are you? Humanimal, how's things in Australia? DP, what's shaking? Ziggy, what's good? And as soon as I'll bring Daily Survivor. How are you? I'll bring Kristen and Turbo on, and as soon as Aspen's able to jump on, we'll get him. Speak of the devil. Aspen is here, I think. Yes, he is. I'm going to click over to the group, and I'm going down to a little small floating head. And the chat's moved down here, so.
Hey, everybody.
Aspen, can you hear me? Turbo, how about you? Let me make sure you guys aren't muted. Oh, Aspen's on camera. Let me bring him up on camera. Dun-dun-dun. Like the camera source. Just give me 1 second here, guys. Let me get Aspen in. Real class act here. Let me see. Top shelf stuff. Can you guys hear Kristen?
Can you guys hear me?
Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear Kristen for me, please. Or let us know. And let me get Aspen's camera rolling. There we go. And he may stay on camera,
everyone.
he may not. There he is.
There's
Aspen.
that handsome man.
He is a handsome man.
Hey there, Aspen.
Oh, come on.
Let me get
He
you out of that
is.
It's so
shirt,
good to see you
bro.
guys. Thank you for inviting me.
It was so nice
Oh,
to see you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
One of these days, I'm going to get to meet you and hug you in person.
That sounds like a threat,
I know
Aspen.
I want to meet you in person too. I'm having a little trouble with my audio. I'm going to try to go off my Wi Fi.
Okay. Well, you sound fine. I can hear you just fine. Let's
No,
see.
it's you guys that are breaking up.
Oh, are we? Mustang
You know
1965.
what
How
they
are you?
say? Breaking up is hard to do.
Not when Ruckus is involved. It's easy to do. Miranda Lee, how are you? Melissa Wildcard. Joyce Brown. Hello. Ivy Push. Now, Aspen, we're going to talk a little bit about the courtroom. Um, your series that you did with Turbo was awesome. I mean, it was
Yeah, I
fantastic.
haven't been able to see all of it, but what I have been able to watch has been really good, you guys. Thanks so much for putting that out there.
Yep. Oh, he
I
just.
talk to him and he disappears.
Yeah, there he is. He's back. Now,
I'm just
Turbo, it
picking
says
up.
that your mic is muted, Turbo. So maybe you can try unmuting your mic on your end. Ben, how are you?
Hey, Deb, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for commenting on Loki. I don't know, Ruckus, if you heard, but I changed Blue's name to Loki.
Oh, you did?
I did because you know why? He is a mischief maker. He is
Oh,
the
okay.
god of mischief for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah. Audrey Kasem or Kasem, how are you? We got Nana73 in the house.
I
Yes,
like
Turbo
Nana.
does rock.
I like
But
Nana.
we're having a situation here with Turbo.
Can't hear her.
Yeah, well, guest is in green room, but muted. So
She needs to
I'm,
hit the mute button. It should be in front of her.
I'm going to have to figure that out. Hey, big fish, how are you?
Can she hit it herself? Because I have one.
Yeah,
Be
she
able to
should be
hit
able
that
to hit it
button.
on her end. Now, she doesn't have a camera. So
Okay.
maybe that is
Right.
part of the problem.
Maybe it's blocking her audio.
Could be, I guess.
Let me see if there's something that I can do about that.
Tur- Turbo, just going off your phone.
Yeah, you could go in off your phone, right?
She's always on her desktop.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I'm on.
Yeah,
I always
Turbo,
do my desktop. I can't. You guys, I'm terrible at doing lives from my phone. You have to teach me. I don't know how to do it. It's terrible.
hi,
I'm
Gail.
so old school, you guys.
Yeah. Turbo's back, but it shows she's in
I,
the
I,
in the
I
in the
I'm
thing.
terrible at.
Now, Turbo, if you try
I'm terrible at
use your
conducting
phone.
lives, like whether it be on anything.
Hey, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Turbo, if you use your phone, you won't be on camera. Your camera will be behind your icon, so you won't be on camera. Try it with your phone. Hi, Joan. All right, now thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jinx. Okay, so we're semi working. We just got to get
Hey,
Turbo.
Jinx. How are you, my dear? I miss you.
Cecil Hotel, Mrs.
Hey, Jinx.
Bojangles. Now, Aspen, overall, right? What it's hard to tell,
Yeah.
not being in there. Was the tension high at any time? I mean, was it obvious that it was a tense time during any of the testimony?
Um. I mean, there were moments that were tense in court, but as far as like tension between the parties involved, I actually thought that everyone, for the most part, was professional and cordial, almost friendly at points. So not necessarily what we've seen in the past. Now, of course, there were moments that were tense when it came to some of the testimony. I mean, I don't think you could have like cut the air in that room with a knife. Bad choice of words. Gosh. Um, when Cicero was testifying.
Oh yeah, I mean that was some graphic stuff for people that aren't used to hearing that kind of thing. I'm sure it was almost appalling, some of the stuff.
Well,
It was sad that the family has to hear it.
it was one of those. It was one of those situations. It was one of those things where, I mean, I knew that there was a blood analysis, or blood splatter analysis expert testifying. I kind of had forgotten about it over the course of the 3 days, and so the third day was such a long, kind of arduous day anyway. That that really, by the time we got to it, I feel like everyone was already exhausted. I mean, we were at the end of very long days. Because even the times we weren't in court, I mean, like that Tuesday, I mean, court didn't start till 11:15, but a lot of us were there at 5 a.m. And so it's like these were very long days, and of course it's heavy. And then you get an expert like Cicero on the stand, and for me it was kind of a out of body surreal experience because one, it was horrific to hear those details, but two, the reality of the fact that none of this involves me, none of it involves any of us, but that 5 feet to my left and 5 feet to my right were people whose entire lives have been destroyed. Not destroyed, but have been impacted um, by what testifying about, and to imagine like what they must be thinking. Um, I just it was so hard to like sit there and hear, and some people chose not to.
Yeah. Now, Turbo, I just added you. Can we hear Turbo yet? It looks like she's in
I don't hear
twice.
Turbo.
Yeah, she's in twice. If you back out and come back on your phone,
Those
Turbo,
Canadian,
I think. Yeah, let me exit her out of there. There we
those Canadians.
go. She's special, though. She's special. But if if they have that kind of testimony, right, already, and it's really striking a chord with people. Can you imagine once they start showing exhibits, with that kind of testimony?
Right,
Have you ever been to a regular trial, either one
right.
of you?
Oh yeah. I sat on the grand jury, and I also have been on a pettit jury. And so yes, I have been in a trial.
Yeah, so you've seen it. You've seen the.
I've
I
seen
have
it.
I have not. I was a witness in a trial once, but it was like a traffic accident. So I mean, that was my only
I've
experience in
never done a
court.
murder. I've never
So
sat on a murder trial, but I've been in a trial.
yeah, I'd actually never been in court really, other than when I had to other than when I was when I had to testify as a witness. But
Now,
Excuse me.
as a whole, how was Judge Go? Did she seem to have a grasp,
um,
control over what was going on, or?
yes, I
Auntie
felt like she
Fran,
did.
Auntie Fran has it going on.
She she did, but it wasn't. But it wasn't an iron fist. And I think that's one of the complaints a lot of people have had in the past is the I I even heard people that are not fond of Judge Gull comment on her demeanor over the course of the 3 day hearings, as far as being much more kind of in the background, much more almost forgettable at sometimes. Like she stepped in when she needed to. She asked for clarification when she wanted it. Um, she set she set them straight when they were going too far off course. So I mean, she kept strict control of the courtroom, but she had never in any way I thought was unfair to either party or rude,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. I really didn't think the attorneys really treated her with a lot of disrespect either.
Right. Okay, Turbo says she's not muted. I'm gonna mute my mic real quick, and I'm gonna call Turbo, and she can just talk that way. So I'll try and
Oh,
monitor the
and
chat. If you
and
guys want to listen.
Turbo's gonna be scared to ever do a live again because she's not used to him anyway.
we'll
But hey,
we'll get.
Turbo, Ru- Ruckus uses one of those like fancy systems. He doesn't use StreamYard, which is a lot more user friendly, I think. But it doesn't have all the cool gadgets. CJK says that's great to hear, Aspen. No name calling to the judge this time. Respect for the recruitment process. Yeah, no one got called ding dong, so I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, right?
Yeah.
And maybe she was saving it all for that closed door hearing she had the next. She was like, maybe that's why she really scheduled that closed hearing, is so she could really let her true self out
Right.
and
All
really
right.
let them all have it.
Turbo, could you say hello to see if everybody can hear you fine?
Everyone, sorry for the difficulties here. You can just carry on without me.
No, absolutely not. Can you guys hear her okay?
Yes.
Okay. That's much
I can
better.
hear her.
Yeah, Turbo and I mean, we go way back like a lazy boy. When I first started my channel, we connected. I think it was through Alex, wasn't it, Turbo?
Yeah.
I think Alex.
Criminal underworld.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And we've had some
Stephanie
fun
made a
conversations.
Stephanie made a good point that
Yeah.
Richard Allen is just another criminal that's been, or a person who's been charged. I would say at this point, and she's dealt with lots of them. I mean, this woman is not. This is not her first rodeo.
No, but I mean, but we do have to admit, I mean, this is the case of all of their careers, and that can be lost in the fact that um, anyone with professional ambition, is not going to look at a case like this lightly. I mean, this is a career making case for the attorneys especially. And we know
I
Judge
don't think
Gull
they've
has had
acted like that at
aspirations in
all.
the past to be on this. No, I don't mean her motivations are career driven. I'm saying that
No,
it is
I'm
a
talking about the
factor in
defense
this
attorneys
that
here. I'm not talking about her. I think
uh,
she's on the short hop to the Supreme Court. She's just doing her
right.
job. She knows how to do this. Yes, it's a huge profile case. She knows that. I think it's why she was chosen and placed there
Hmm.
by the Supreme Court. I think that they chose who they thought would be able to handle the crazy around this case, and that's why they did that. But I have a completely different outlook on the defense attorneys, why they're doing what they're doing. I know a lot of people think they're just doing their jobs. I think it's gone way past that. I do not see them having Richard Allen's best interest at heart. I do not.
Thank you,
Mm.
little one, for that super chat. You guys are
No, you
doing
know what?
great with Delphi. I appreciate that. Now,
And
what do
I'm
you
speaking
guys?
Kristen,
from someone who's
I
not
was
watched
referring.
them in court, so I will say that.
And I
Now,
was referring mainly to Gull as far as her intentions. I think that attorneys definitely have political aspirations, or not political, but career aspirations. That they know that this is going to be the case maker for them,
Yes,
and there's a self-serving interest, 100%. And even in Nick McClelland's case, like he knows this could be his path to becoming a judge one day if he wants. Like it's going to get
absolutely.
him.
Yes, absolutely. This
So,
will
and I'm
put
not
him on the
saying
playing
I'm.
field map for the state of Indiana. Absolutely.
Yeah.
now let's talk about
He'll
the
finally be he'll
confessions.
finally be at Shane Evans level. I'm kidding.
Yeah. As the stomach turns. We got. Let me get this super
Hey,
chat real quick
I
from
met Shane
Ziggy.
Evans. All right.
Ziggy 4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. But his confessions, right?
Hmm.
If his confessions happened prior to, if any of them, now he confessed over 60 times, from what I understand, and
Over
if
100, but 61 of them have actual statements within them that only the killer would know.
okay, so it's some of them the confessions, some of them incriminating statements. Is that what he said? Okay,
Yes.
but if any of that happened prior to him seeing the discovery, that's hard to cover for as a defense attorney. If any of them happened
And
after he
and
saw
well,
discovery, they have
let's
a
not forget he didn't see 67 terabytes worth of discovery. He saw a very small portion of discovery on a few certain days. Um, and we don't actually know what items of discovery he was shown. So presumably, that might be a non-issue to begin with. because the discovery he might have been given might not have contained any of the information that he used in any of his confessions.
We're not sure what he ate.
Yeah, he
Nobody
ate some of it.
Nobody has told us what he ate, but he ate some of the discovery that he was given.
Now, I'm here to tell you, the unit that he's in, right? He doesn't have anything in his cell. He's not allowed to have paperwork in there. So when he wants to see his discovery and stuff like that, they'll give him some of it, and then they get it back. They take it back from him. He's not allowed to keep it in there.
Actually, Turbo might need it, because I actually believe that it is in his, I do believe it is in his cell.
Okay.
I believe that Turbo, did they not testify to that, and how the only people that had access to go inside his cell were a few people, and it was to limit anyone else's access to that discovery.
Did you hear that, Turbo?
Yeah, there was mention about that. I don't want to have feedback.
What do you-
They did talk about that. The particulars of, I know he has his original discovery. They specifically made mention that they were not copying it and putting it in to give to him the way they normally would, and that was for the purposes of keeping out illicit drugs, which I guess, because they can't infect the legal mail, right?
Right. They'll go through it. They can't
Right.
read it,
But
but
I
they
do
can take out staples, paper clips, and the such. They don't want him having any of that kind of stuff.
So
they specifically testified about him having his original, like they were not copying it the way they would typically do. He had like the only copy, and I just wanted to say about him not being able to go through 67 terabytes. The defense is still going through the discovery.
Well,
that's
there's a
because
lot
they
of
didn't feel
discovery.
that they needed to look at all of it, which
Pardon?
again is, in my opinion, is malpractice on their part.
Well, there's 5 years prior to his arrest worth of discovery investigation. I mean, that's a lot of work. Whether it's
Right.
exculpatory or not, that's up to them to decide. But
And that was something
He didn't just
debated
pull-
during
what
the
I'm
3
saying
days.
he didn't
Is
just
that
pull things out of that and start confessing. In my opinion.
is that there was a comment made one day during the hearings that just because the defense, this, I think it was Nick that said it, he said just because the defense believes something is exculpatory evidence doesn't mean it's exculpatory evidence. There's if you think about the evidence that's in that, what is it, 67 terabytes of discovery. I mean, they went to Colorado to see what's his name, the hatchet guy. There's going to be stuff in there about James.
Daniel
I'm
Nations.
drawing a
That's his
blank.
name.
Daniel
You're talking
Nations,
Daniel Nations.
James Chadwell. There's going to be
Chadwell.
information about all of
Adder.
those people in there
Or Eder,
that doesn't
whatever
make
his
any
name
of it
is, Eder.
exculpatory.
But the
No,
point
It's
is,
just avenues
somebody
of the
asked in
investigation they
chat
went down.
about, I'm sorry, somebody in chat asked about the insanity plea and that they think that he's working towards insanity. Insanity in Indiana is extremely, well, it is in the whole US, but in Indiana, it has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was and was mentally ill at the time that he committed the act he's being charged with, for the insanity plea to ever even be successful. So they have to show that, and there has to be notices of intent, expert examinations. There's the burden of proof. There's a huge criteria for the insanity defense, and then they also have a huge cognitive test that they have to be given, and it focuses on what the defendant was thinking and whether they could understand the wrongfulness of their actions. And I think everything points to that this man knows exactly what he did was wrong. He's talking about not getting into heaven. and that he wants to confess because he wants to be with his family in heaven. This man knows exactly what he did was wrong. So he was not insane when he did this. Sorry, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm just throwing that one out.
Aspen, True Crime
Right.
Web, Steve wants to
And
know what was most
let's
surprising detail from the hearings.
well, just to piggyback on Kristen really quickly, I do want to say that we've never even had a request for a competency hearing in
Nope.
this case. So
No.
to think that Richard Allen is going to go in any sort of insanity plea, that's a far cry, because the first thing they would do is establish competency. And what people don't realize sometimes is that if you're not, if you have a competency hearing and they deem you not competent, you go to a mental facility or they treat you, they get you competent, and then you go back and you stand trial for the crime that you were charged of. It doesn't get you off the hook.
No.
But as far as what Steve was asking, which, hi, by the way, hi, Steve. The biggest, of course, the Cicero was probably the hardest thing for me to listen to, and even though I knew how the girls died, hearing the details of what the blood told them about the crime and the series of events, it was fascinating. And I hate to use that word in a forensics way, but it was also just so emotionally overwhelming and heartbreaking. And of course, the box cutter was not something I think anyone expected to. I don't think that was on anyone's bingo list or bingo card. So that was surprising to me, as was a throwaway comment made by Jerry Holman when asked about, after the confessions, if they reinvestigated things, which is when he brought up that they went to CVS about the box cutter. And then he was asked if they interviewed any of the families again, and he said maybe the daughter's friend or friends. And then they didn't elaborate on that at all. And I was like, that's a piece of information that we've not heard anything about until then, is that there were interviews done of Richard Allen's daughter's friend or friends.
Now, did they have a lot of sidebars?
There were Turbo's the computer on this, but I think there were 4 or 5 over the total of the 3 days. She's
And
going
what
to
do
come
they
in and be
use?
like,
A
there were
white
18.
noise machine in the courtroom?
No, they didn't use anything. No, they didn't use anything. The well of the care, even though the courtroom is small, the well is pretty large actually. So once you're on the other side of the wall there with the where the defense table is and the prosecution table and the judge's bench, you're a good distance away from the judge. So we really couldn't hear the conversation that was happening, and I was in the front row.
Okay.
Now, when they were walking away, they would continue to talk sometimes, so you'd pick up on pieces of information that they were saying, but for the most part, you just couldn't hear them.
Okay. I lost the audio with Turbo on the phone as well. She's
noticed.
just going to be in chat, she said. So
Oh.
we'll get that worked out. That's got to be something on my end. That's the first time I've ever had somebody that was not on camera. Because usually I can put them on camera in the background where they're not shown and cover it with their picture like I did here. But
Yeah. No, I don't.
I've seen someone else have that. I've seen someone else have that issue before, and I can't remember. And it has something to do with when you disable the camera, the mic goes to. I don't know.
I'll get it figured.
I'm not a tech person.
Because I want to be able to have
Aspen
guests that don't
now.
want to go on camera, be able to come on and talk, But Richard Allen's confessions are going to bite him in the ass.
Oh, it's going to be the death of him. His own words are going to be what brings this man down. Not only the confessions, but his words of what he was doing that day, where he was, why he was there, all of that. He had been his worst, his worst
he's his own enemy. His
enemy.
worst
Yeah, I
enemy.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I mean, Steve has talked about this. I've taught you, Frank, we've all talked about this on our lives for over a year and a half, about Richard Allen is the witness against Richard Allen. He's the person who everybody has to look at. There's no other witness that's more important than him. What he is saying and what he has said is going to be his downfall. My family members that are detectives, when they found out he had made 6 confessions, this was before we knew all these, they said, oh, confessions are, especially to family, is really hard to overcome. Those aren't coerced. That's somebody coming out to a family member. And his mother? Who
Well,
comes out to their mother and admits to killing 2 teenage girls? I've said it over and over again. Who does that, you guys?
nobody.
That breaks a mother's heart.
And I'm here to tell you that, and I mean this,
And
if it turned out that he was not guilty and it was Odinist, I'm just as happy as long as they get the right people.
Absolutely.
But he has got so much stacked against him, and everybody knows my opinion. I think he's going to plead out, not plead out, but change his plea.
Yeah.
If this goes to trial, and I hope it does, because I want to watch it, follow along with it. I hope it's televised, but
yeah, I don't think she's going to televise it, but that's me. Sadly,
yeah,
I wish, but I just think there's been too many social media people that have created all kinds of nightmares in this case, and she doesn't want it. She doesn't
well, you
want
look
to
at the
make
nightmares around the Karen Reed case, and they still televise that one. That
I
was a
know.
hot mess with that Turtle Boy guy and
well,
that
What
DUI
state is
guy.
Karen Reed in, though?
Massachusetts.
And see, that's a blue state,
Um,
and I think it makes a
you know,
difference. I'm serious. I think it makes a difference. So,
well, I mean, I can see the argument for both sides for it because, I mean, like one, she helped pilot the program, so I mean,
yes,
I know that she's not opposed to the idea of it. However, it's like there's clearly something in this case that's creating a hesitancy in her to allow them. But there is a part of me that of course, I selfishly want them. Like I want cameras. I think transparency is always good. Um, and but does that create less of a circus environment or more of one if there are cameras? Because I see arguments for both. I mean, look at the Johnny Depp trial. It was televised, and because of that, you have people like camping out days ahead of time to get in the courtroom because they'd watched it on TV. Or are you going to get people that are all going to be like hoarding the Carroll County Courthouse to get in because it's not televised? So it's kind of a catch-22.
it's so different when you go to these small cities, these small counties. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the infrastructure to handle big crowds and crazy people and all of this. It costs money.
Mm-hmm.
They have to bring in security. People don't understand that. They have to secure
Mm-hmm.
not only all the people that are visiting the courthouse and the courtroom, but the city itself. People don't get it. And I'm all for it, you guys. I want cameras. I
And
want
the
to see it
jurors,
too. But I mean, yeah, the jurors, people want to know
right?
who's going to be the jurors, and they want to attack them. I mean, it's just gotten
Right, and so
crazy, and
they'll have to be protected.
mm-hmm. And I just think she's trying her best to keep it as hemmed in or pulled in as she can. I mean, look what the heck's going on in Idaho. I keep going back to that because if you look at the Brian Koberger case, to me, it's the same kind of thing, and they're televising it. They're televising the court stuff, and to me, they're worried about the same thing. They've got this little tiny town. It's a college town. They've got a high school right across the street from the courthouse. And they're trying to decide, is it going to be a change of venue? Because they're worried about security and being able to provide it in that scenario.
Right.
And I think Delphi's in the same situation here. It's different when you're talking about an Indianapolis or you're talking about a big city that's got a lot of police force that they can, glean from and pull from. But they don't have that in Carroll County.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I want it televised.
Or even
And I think
Fort Wayne,
Fran Dahl would like to have it televised, but I just don't see that she's doing it. She's put out decorum that people don't follow, Ruckus. We had a YouTuber go in with spy glasses on, for Christ's sake. I mean, what does that tell you? And then she tries to say, well, I didn't have them on. I mean, we weren't working.
Yeah, well, there's no excuse for that. I mean,
No.
there's
Right.
no way around
And
around that one.
Right.
So
Right.
What's up, Sleuth?
And I have mixed thoughts about that because I will say that as far as security, all I can speak to is my experience over the 3 days that I was there in July and August. But I was incredibly impressed with the deputies, and they were all reserve deputies that were brought in from other places. I think I was told Carroll County has 2 court deputies, and they actually just recently got them. So the majority of the staff that was doing security were all from other places, but they were efficient, they were professional, they were friendly. Everything ran, I thought, very smoothly, security wise, in July and August. So having said that, I of course agree that, no one should wear a camera of any sort or a recording device into a courthouse if it's not allowed. But it alarms me that someone was able to get through security not once, not twice, but more than 2 times, and was not caught until someone inside the courthouse just happened to notice it.
Yeah.
And notified a deputy. I mean, so she went through the security line and no one caught it.
Right. And she did it at another trial.
That alarms me.
And that is, to me, that is, yeah. Again.
And those aren't new.
No.
That's not a new thing.
No.
So you think they'd be more hip to that? I should
right.
ask.
And I'm not dissing those deputies. I'm not dissing those deputies. I think from my experience, they were all very thorough, and I'm assuming it was some of the same ones. But I just, that would be something that they would be on the obvious lookout for, right? Just logically, in my opinion. I mean,
well, decorum's there for a reason, and it's. I hate the way this whole thing is going. It would have been nice to have it televised. I doubt we're going to see a trial in October. What do you guys think?
I think we will see a trial in October unless he changes his plea. I do not think at this point in time she is going to let them throw a wrench into this trial. Not at the last minute. I just don't see it, especially if they get that close to seating the jurors. No.
Right. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. They've already spent a lot of money on the juror questionnaires and all of that the first time. Because I was surprised even to hear how much it was, like $3 or $4 a piece they cost to send out. Yeah. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you do 650 of them, I think that with the accommodations they're going to have to make for the staff and for the jurors, there's so many logistical things that go into place that I would not be surprised if one of the things that they discussed on the 23rd was intent over the future of the case,
Right.
and I think it would be a very logical thing to assume that Judge Go might have wanted to know where their heads were as far as, are you going to be ready to go? Like, because
Oh
right
yeah,
now
that's what
everything
that was the
everything
status
is all,
hearing.
and that
She asked him.
and I think that as of right now, I think that both sides are saying they are completely ready to go. That could change next week. It could change after she rules on the motion to eliminate. It could change after a deposition. I don't know. But as of right now, I think that everyone has said they're ready to go in October.
My dear
And I
friend,
don't see a plea.
my best friend's husband is a judge. I've told you guys this, and I talked to him about this, and he said to me that she is looking at everything down to the last little thing on the lemonade. It's why she is waiting to. She wants to make sure that she gets it all right. She is crossing her P's and Q's. That's why she's taking time to do this. There's a lot here. And also that he believes that there will be, and he's looked at the case, I mean, as much as he can with what we have and what we know. And he absolutely feels that they have absolutely exhausted what they have. And that at the status hearing, she called them in and said, okay, guys, we go to trial in such and such days. I need to know, what else do you need from me or the court? Do you need more time? Is there something that you don't have that you need money for? Is there experts that you don't have? And she's talking to the defense here, obviously, that you don't have that you need money for. Or she also would say to them, have you discussed a plea change with your client? Have you discussed? She would have asked them that. The judges do that in status
Of course.
hearings because the court is about, yes, there's, like Aspen said, there's a lot of money tied up here. A lot of money has been spent, and they want to not have trials as often as they can. So if there's any chance that he could change his plea and then avoid a trial, they'll do that. Now, that's not a plea
Right.
deal, guys. That's a change of
No.
plea.
Correct.
So that's a
Yeah, there's a big
whole
difference.
different thing here. But those are the things that get asked at status hearings. And that's what she had
Right.
that for, was to feel them out as to, where are you? We're this close to trial, and you're not going to come to me 10 days or 15 days before trial and say, here's my motion to, extend this. That, no, she wants to know now.
What's going on, Sleuth?
Right.
Well,
And
you get
it also goes into account. I think it's important to mention that one, she has, I mean, this is 6 weeks essentially. She has a full court calendar. The attorneys have court calendars. This is a huge, of course, significant amount of time for all of the families and those and for everyone to just take out of their their daily lives. And I know from a conversation I had in May is that there are so many moving parts when you have to just kind of stop everything to plan around a trial that, even when it was 4 weeks, and then gets canceled and or moved to later. I think it's in everyone's best interest that everyone kind of know what everyone's intentions are. But I will say I personally right now I don't see the benefit to either side in yeah, I don't see the state I don't see the state offering any plea anything, and I
Nope.
don't see Richard Allen having any incentive right now to change his plea.
Nope.
what's up, Frank? Now you said that they have cameras in the courtroom, right? They were covered with black trash
Yeah.
bags.
Yeah,
So
kind of at least 3, possibly 4, 2 in the front, I think 2 in the back, 1 for sure in the back.
Hmm. So I mean, they're set up for it. Maybe they can do
They,
some kind of a delay or anything. And we all know that, I'm not going to keep saying it. I don't think it's ever going to get to trial. But it's going to be interesting if the defense team don't feel like they were successful in jury selection. That's going to have an impact as well. They want to get the
what do you
people in
mean?
the
What do you
jury
mean?
that they want.
Oh yeah,
When they have
yeah.
the interviews for the jury, they can throw people out. You only get so many though. You can't excuse every single one. So if it
But,
doesn't go in their favor, if they have to get rid
right,
of the first couple, that's going to have a big impact on things as well. I've seen that happen.
right.
Oh, the
Well, and
defense
that's going
team
to be
is
3
certainly
days.
not
It's
ready.
going to be the
They're certainly
it's
not
going to
ready to
that's going
defend
to be
their
the
client in
14th, 15th,
October.
They did mention that though, as far as like that'll be the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, right? And 50 jurors in the morning, 50 jurors in the afternoon. If I'm remembering that correctly, is what they're going to interview over those 4 days. And then the first day of trial will be the 18th in Carroll County. Because jury selection will be in Allen County.
Yeah, and then they're going to take them. I wonder if they're making them stay in the Delphi area in
The,
Carroll County, or are they going to sequester them
yes,
or what?
No,
they are. Yes, they are sequestered.
they're
Okay.
sequestered.
Yeah.
So they'll
So the
probably be. I think
and
they'll
they'll have
be
to
in
have security.
Lafayette. They're probably going to be held in Lafayette. I think housed in Lafayette is what I'm assuming. And we won't know where that is, but they're going to take them to a location. They'll be in a nice hotel. I know of one in Lafayette that I think they'll use, and that's where they'll be. And they'll be there with deputies, and they will be brought to the court by bus every day and taken back every day. In fact, when they get seated in Allen County, they're going to be allowed to go home to get their bag packed, whatever. Hopefully they'll have their bags ready, and they'll go get their bags and come back to the courthouse. And they, at that time, they can't have cell phones. They can't have any of that stuff with them. I went through all of that and to look to see how they handled it. And that's what happens. Then they'll put them on the bus and they'll come.
Right.
Yeah, they don't let them have any
Yeah.
electronics. They
And
can't
now,
have electronic equipment in their hotel rooms. They can't take it with them. I think they give them phones if they want to call and talk to their family members or whatever during this process, but they don't get to have our handheld computers, which are our cell phones, because they don't want them being able to see anything that's going on about the trial.
Well, we're going to see
so the
if
jurors the jurors basically have less rights than a
Yes.
pre-trial detainee in Westville Correctional Facility. Then I'm
Yes.
kidding.
They'll get to have family time at night, and they'll get to have a movie. They'll do movies. They'll probably maybe they'll take them, I don't know, take them out and do something with them. They usually do that with sequestered jurors to try to keep them, because go back and look at OJ. I mean, for those of us that lived during that period and watched it, Ruckus, we're old enough. We lived through OJ and watched it all. And, that was 9 months of hell on those jurors.
sure.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was sequestering for 9. They were done. They were over it. They had a freaking circus, a real circus performers outside the courthouse for the people that would stand outside every day.
Well,
Right.
we've had
I
it
worry
on this
about people
case as
outside
well.
of the hotels. I worry about people going outside of the jurors' hotels and holding up signs, hoping they'll see them in the window. I mean, anything. I really hope that there's a really strict oversight on how these attorneys are able to handle that jury information.
It's,
Because
I mean, they're going to vet them. That happens all the time. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong
but
with that.
who? Yeah, but I mean, when
The
the
defense.
idea of them having, I know, but the idea of them actually having third party people go out and do that are on social media, which has already been an issue. When the first, when they were going to have the trial in May, you know, there was a whole group chat with two prior attorneys that were parties to this case and a group of other people that they were discussing that, they would their willingness to help,
Yeah.
look into the jurors.
I mean, it's just pathetic. You want to know in your mind, or at least I do, as a parent who has buried a child, what kind of human beings behave this way in the trial of someone accused of killing two children. Who does this kind of stuff? Who goes out there and tries to attack jurors? And who goes out there and just camps outside of the hotels where the jurors are being housed and harasses them and threatens them? Stop and think about what our society is coming to, you guys. I'm
Oh,
serious.
so it's like
Stop
posting
and
pictures
think
of
about, if this
Dr.
was your child or your grandchild or your sister or your cousin or niece or whatever. How would you feel
It's a
Right.
to watch
different
Where
world
this shit?
now.
To watch
where's the
this
line
shit.
drawn?
There's
I
no
mean,
line. It's like, oh my God.
I
Yeah, it
mean,
really
I've seen
upset.
pictures people have shared of Dr. Wallace's children dressed up on Halloween. I mean, these are, innocent minors that you're, for what reason, spreading pictures of them around in messages.
I mean, it's
Okay,
ridiculous.
okay, Dr. Walla has children. Why do you have to send their picture to other people?
Right.
But how do
It's
you
where
police that?
where are the lines here?
Yeah, how do you police that though?
You
They'll
can't
Well,
do
on
it in
hopefully
social
private,
media. Sadly, on
a
regardless.
moral
social media,
compass.
you can't. That's
I
why
think
we have
if
crime
people
scene
took it
photos of Abby and Libby all over social media, right? Because once it
right,
hits social media and once it hits the internet, it's there forever. You can't get it off of there.
well, if people took a step back and actually, looked at their own moral compass, maybe
Yes.
they would realize that they were being a douchebag or an asshole. Sorry, can I curse on here? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I do what I want. So do my
That
guests. You're fine.
is
Well,
that me? I am
Yeah.
so sorry, you guys. Hold on.
that's okay. If you need to
Somebody's
answer it, go
calling
ahead.
me. Oh my
So
God. Nobody calls me
I have
when
a
they know
question,
I'm live. What
Ruckus.
the
Can I ask you a
hell?
question?
Sure.
So I know you talked about the plea for a while.
Mhm.
Um, do you feel the scenario surrounding, like, under what circumstances that would take place are different now than you originally did, or like what do you think it would take for it to get to the point where he would that Richard Allen would be willing to change his plea?
Well,
I'm genuinely curious.
yeah, the way when I first started looking at this case and I seen the evidence that they had, I'm one of the very few people on YouTube that actually trusts law enforcement. I
Hmm.
don't believe that they're out there just trying to close this case so that somebody can get elected sheriff, make an arrest, or
I
anything
I
like
I
that.
believe you. I'm 100% with you. I'm one of those people. I
Yeah.
believe you.
I
That
So,
is crazy to
same.
me.
but when
It's
I
not
seen the
happening.
way his attorneys was, especially when that 146-page memo came out in support of the Franks motion, uh, it's desperation. They're swinging for the fences. I know some people don't agree, and that's fine. And the way I look at it is, I really don't mind. I'm from Boston. I'm a Red Sox fan. I hate the Yankees, but I don't hate the players. I don't hate the owners. It's just a rivalry, and that's the way I look at
Hmm.
other creators having different opinions and stuff like that. I don't know them. I don't dislike them or anything like that, or the attorneys involved with this case. I really don't care who they are. But the actions that they took and the lack of action on the prosecution side is what really sewed it up for me. It's like, this guy doesn't have a prayer. Nick's really not worried about what they're
Nope.
doing.
No,
Nope.
not at all.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, and they're doing everything. Now, this is common practice. They're trying to get everything suppressed. That's every case. But they're not being
Right.
successful. Now, it's going to be interesting to see this next motion, if she's going to allow this third party defense in without a nexus. But if you look again, you look at the Karen Reed case, there was a decent nexus. They had a very good third party defense lined up, I thought, anyways. And I'm pro law enforcement, but the way they presented that case, it was
Right.
fantastic. They had a lot more than this case has, in my eyes, for a
Right.
third party.
So what do you? But I mean, what do you think it would take for Richard Allen to just to tomorrow wake up and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to change my plea.
The jury selection will be the last straw. That'll be the last straw, because his attorneys are
You
going to know. Yeah, they're going to have to
you
tell
don't
him.
you don't think they'll let him? You don't think they'll let him go through with it and promise him an appeal?
Well, I mean, he's going to get an appeal anyway. Even
Yeah,
if
he'll
he
get an appeal anyway.
Right.
even if he pleads guilty, there's a thing
Yeah.
in
Right.
Indiana called post-conviction relief that he can apply
Mm-hmm.
for. And one of the circumstances is evidence was not allowed in, or that you had poor representation.
The poor
So,
representation he can't
Exactly.
use. He can't use that. The Supreme Court
Oh, that's
already
right.
told him that. When they put his attorneys back on at his request, they asked him specifically, "Are you sure? Because you're giving up your right for an appeal on your counsel being inept or ineffective."
mhm. So he
So he
scratched
can't
that
use
one.
that. So that one's gone. That one's gone.
But there's enough there. He'll get post conviction relief. He will. They'll take another look at it.
Oh, well, I'm
Um,
sure they will, but I don't see it. I just don't see it going anywhere, but that's just me.
yeah,
Right.
but
Keegan,
he should
like
have changed his plea a long time ago.
Keegan Klein just got his denied.
Hmm. Yep,
Yep.
he applied for it for his sentencing.
Like I don't know if you saw Keegan Klein just got his denied. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys, it is really, really hard in our justice system to get convictions overturned if you haven't paid attention. That's not something, appeals don't just happen every day and people win. Appeals happen every day and people lose.
Mhm.
That's what happens in it. Appeals, you have the right, and especially in these kinds of cases, appeals, it's really got to be something huge for them to just overturn it. I mean, they're trying. Look at Scott Peterson. He's trying to get a new trial. He's not even trying to get it overturned. He just wants a new trial, and
Mhm.
they're fighting tooth and nail not to give it to him. So, he can say, and people can say everything. Oh, well, he'll appeal. Well, yeah, he may appeal. He could appeal till the cows come home. That doesn't mean he's going to win.
Everyone appeals.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone appeals. And appeals take money, they take representation, and they take having to put your family through it all. And so, I mean, will there come a point, if he is as committed to his family as we've been told? I mean, will there come a point where, and this is my theory, is that if he's convicted, I don't know how much will he'll have to go through the appeal process, like as gung ho as people are giving him credit for.
But
I
he
mean, I
can't appeal
think
his
there could be much
conviction,
more
though.
of a willingness for him at that point to say, I'm not going to put my. Well, I'm saying I think that he's much more likely at that point to be like, I don't want to put my family through this process again. So, I'm just going to accept my fate.
Yeah.
Like after the conviction.
And I do not think that he can appeal his conviction. He can appeal his sentence.
I don't see an appeal
and I
process
don't
going
think that
anywhere.
the sentence can be, that's the sentence in the state of Indiana for his crime. I don't see that going anywhere.
And I
You
don't
see
think the
what I mean?
defense has any cards up their sleeve. I don't think they
No.
have anything that's going to be shocking
No, but
revelations.
I think
right.
they wish they did.
But
I'm
it's
sure
all
they're
smoke
working
and
on it.
mirrors.
I'm sure they're working on.
Yeah, they're going
Well,
to
I mean, I'm
they're
sure
going
they're
to put
working.
on the best theater presentation they can possibly do. That's their job.
Right.
But I can't
Yeah.
see it. I can't see it. To me, I hope there is a trial because I want to see it. But to me,
Yeah, I
he's
think we all do.
crazy if he does not change his plea. He's crazy. Um, it's bad enough already what's gotten out, and they actually gave his family the heads up, did they not? Saying you don't want to sit here through this next part when Cicero
Exactly.
testified, correct?
Yeah, when they did the blood spatter analysis,
Yeah.
they told them ahead of time it was coming and gave them opportunity. And
Both.
Janice and Kathy left.
Now, why would they not want to
But
hear it?
yeah, and the prosecution gave the.
Oh, I'm sure they all were told. The families were told.
They apparently had to go. They apparently had to go pick up their dog at the vet, but but the prosecution did also tell the victims' families so that they were aware and that they were prepared as well, and not just then, but the day that they were going to be showing some of the crime scene photos as well. They gave them a heads up,
That's stuff, you guys, that's really hard to hear. And I
and the
know,
only
Russ,
people
that you
that
know
I
that.
think
And
left
Aspen
this
had just said
throw
it.
thing was
It may be too late for a plea deal. I don't think Nick or Judge Gall's going to entertain a deal at this point. I honestly don't. This has gone
no
too far. But funnier things have happened. We just have to, like Steve commented here earlier, we have to trust our system, trust the jury system. I don't like the jury system. I would rather just leave it to a judge or have
Neither do
professional juries.
judges. I'll tell you, judges don't like the jury system either. They don't like to deal
Yeah.
with jurors. Jurors are a pain in their behinds because
Well,
all the jurors come in thinking this is TV and that everything they see on Law and Order is how it works, and it's not.
these attorneys know how to play a jury. I mean, they're very good at it. They're well versed in it, and they like to argue. So that's their job. That's what they're going to do. And if it goes to trial, I certainly hope it's televised, at least tape delayed. I don't see a problem with that. But we'll see. She's pretty dead set against it. Now, if there is a trial, are you going to go,
right.
Aspen?
I if I can logistically, well, I mean, I can. I mean, right now, like the Airbnb that I'm like negotiating for is like $10,000 for 6 weeks, and so um, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out that aspect of it still, but no, I plan on being there if I'm able to. Um, Although I will say I'm one of the few people I think that still is holding out hope that she's going to allow a camera. I don't think it'll be any news camera or anything, but I'm not convinced yet that there won't be a camera in the courtroom.
I hope you are right. I hope
Yeah,
she
I'd
does it
like to
on a
see it.
delay. I hope she does it on a time delay where where she allows everything, the audio, the camera, everything, but it's delayed and it goes out. You know what I mean? Even on like a 15 to 20-minute delay or whatever. I think that would help her keep a handle on some things if she does it that way.
Well, we'll have to see. And any of you
Well, the
guys
poor
that haven't watched
the poor clerk is going to have to do transcripts every day.
Oh, did you guys see the that I think it was WTHR they did a 10 or 15-minute thing on they have all of the um accounting of the money that's been spent on this trial and where it's gone.
I want to know where
WTHR
my
has it all.
$3 went.
They have it all, you guys, and I want to see that, because I really do want to see what the defense has used their money for, because the whole $12,000 trip down to Georgia is just maddening as hell.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's insane to go pick up a freaking picture that we all had. All they had to do was contact us. You know, I had it. I don't know, Aspen, you had it. I know you did. Dang it. Don't look at me like that. And I'm just saying, you know, they could have saved the state 12 grand. What the hell? Who did they stay with? What, what conference room did they rent that cost them $12,000?
Sure. But they've done enough to get enough things
and Baldwin
on the
said
record.
he went by himself.
Yes, I know. What the hell did he drive? Did he fly? What did he? I mean, oh my God.
But any of you guys that have
Did he
not
Uber?
watched the series with Aspen and Turbo,
Black.
you need to go watch it. It's fantastic. What's on the
Aspen, I
bottom
love
of your
you.
cup there, Aspen?
Oh, thank you.
Did you
There's
hear
no
me?
telling. Oh,
I said I love you.
it's a frog.
Okay.
Between my crickets over here and the corner for my tarantulas and whatever's outside his house.
Right.
I keep hearing it. And where are you?
It's the
Ruckus, are you
crickets.
on the
Yeah.
porch? Are you outside on the porch? Ruckus?
No.
Are you in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I do keep hearing the crickets, and I'm like, are they coming from Aspen, or are they coming from my crickets over here from my tarantula?
That's me. Yeah, that's me. That was actually 11 episodes. It was supposed to be 10, but we cut it into 11. And we actually were thinking about doing another little like hour-long thing about some of the recent stuff. So as soon as our schedules can sync up, maybe Turbo and I will do it again if you want us to. So, but for anyone that has never been to a hearing or anything, I will say it was an invaluable experience, because it's not something you can replicate or get a feel for when you're. It's funny because I've watched so many hearings like from the YouTube side of it, waiting for information to come out, and now that I've been to a couple of these, like I realize kind of the personalities of the people that go. Some of the stuff I'm like, I bet they weren't in that courtroom the whole time they said they were.
Yeah, right.
But no, I thought it was incredibly interesting.
Aspen,
I was like, I saw people take smoke breaks.
What is your feeling of how Richard Allen was the last time you saw him in court? Because I saw a couple of different opinions of people who were there, and I haven't heard yours. So, people said that he was all smiles when he got out of the car, the white car, when he arrived, and that he was dejected with his head down on the table after the hearing, after the blood evidence and stuff was going on. So I know he was smiling when he found out that he was leaving Westville, or Wabash, but what is your take on him in the court that day?
Well, he's I was sitting directly behind him. So the front row, they have no one in because they're blocked off for security. And so I was in the first seat behind Richard Allen. And so I could only see his facial expressions if he were to turn a little bit to the left or the right. And I will say that over the course of the 3 days, he seemed very lucid. He seemed very engaged, at sometimes more than others. He seemed to get a little disinterested when they were talking about some of the third party stuff. I think he was about as interested in Brad Holder's Facebook as I am, which is not much. But as far as the last day, one, again, it was a long day. I saw him he sat there during Cicero's, because I locked my eyes into the back of his head at one point during Cicero's testimony, because I couldn't direct my emotions anywhere else other than towards the anger I was feeling. And I was looking, and I was not been convicted, but I was sitting there just like, how in the hell could you have done this to these children?
Exactly. Yeah.
And he didn't seem he he was listening, he was engaged. The part about the head down that you're referring to is at the end of the testimony. They had a few little things to wrap up, and they had a sidebar that lasted about 5 minutes, and it was during that period. And it was, like I said, it was at the end of a 12-hour day. um I I think that everyone was tired, and I think even Richard Allen was like kind of probably, I'm assuming, um, emotionally and physically exhausted. And I heard what I thought was something about dinner to one of the deputies, but I can't verify that because I couldn't hear it clear enough. But I thought he was asking about when he was getting his dinner. Um, but he did put his head down for a minute, and that's when he then started to look back around the courtroom, and and he did, and he did look at some of the victims' family members, which after that testimony was, I don't know how you could look in that direction. But again, I've also said I'm not going to put intent on why he was looking at people, because I don't know.
Right.
Well, there's going to be
But
some.
then as soon as she talked about the safekeeping, he of course was happy, and Andrew Baldwin fist pumped in the and it was like they were joyous, and he had no family in the courtroom to celebrate it with him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. This whole thing is unfortunate. It never should have happened in the first place. But his confessions, I think, are going to bury him. Once the state presents their evidence,
Yep.
and they're going to present it. We don't know which way they're going to go yet, how they're going to present their evidence. But once they do that, and then they play over the loudspeaker his own voice confessing, that's going to be powerful to the jurors, and it's going to be hard to over.
All of those times,
Yeah, it's going to be hard to overcome. I mean, how
right?
do you knock that? And you can't unring the bell, and it's allowed into evidence. The
No,
judge is allowing it. So you can't unring that bell. The jury's going to hear
and
it.
Yeah.
and he didn't do it just once or twice. I mean, he reiterated it to the point where he had Dr. Wallach call his wife back so that she could hear him confess, and that so that Dr. Wallach could understand why he did it. And that was something that I was, because I want to read everything with my own eyes, and hear everything with my own ears before I believe it 100%. But something I was looking for when they were talking about the confessions is, and then they said it right away. As soon as I heard that it contained information that's not publicly known, that only the killer would know, to me that's damning. Because unlike Elvis Fields,
Absolutely.
the information he get, the information he was giving that was unknown to the public wasn't factual and didn't have anything to do with the crime. There weren't antlers on
Yep.
those girls, and they didn't find any DNA spit on them. So we know that his claims weren't true.
Right.
But clearly, Richard Allen made confessions that contained.
Oh, he froze up.
Um,
We may have lost him.
I just think that um, he's right. The confessions, and everybody that says the confessions are going to be his downfall. They're not going to be able to overcome those. And the reason is, stop and think about us as human beings. When people confess to us of things that they've done. Yes, people have confessed to things they didn't do. But this is a completely different scenario that we're talking about here. And I want somebody to show me where someone went to their mother and confessed to murdering brutally 2 teenage children that didn't do it. I want you to bring me the case. Show me
Welcome
it.
back,
Come
Aspen.
on, you guys. That's what I want to happen for all these naysayers out there that are complaining about Richard Allen not being bridge guy and not being the guy. Go find me the case. Go find me
He's
the
bridge
case.
guy. He's bridge guy. There's no
Yes,
doubt
he's
in my
bridge
mind
guy.
he's
There's
bridge
no
guy.
doubt he's bridge guy. And it's like, and that's what he's being charged for. Bridge guy. And
Well,
I
we'll
think they've
see.
got more. I think they've got more, and I think they're going to show us that at trial.
They
Of
do.
course they have more. They
They
definitely
do.
have more.
Right. They have lots more. I was hoping they were. When I walked into the courthouse in the courtroom and there was a TV up front, I was like, we're gonna get to see the BG video, but no, we didn't. It
No
was just a
such luck.
minute of Brad Holder. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
save it for court.
we'll see. Nick's going to get his chance to prove this, and
Hey,
the defense team is doing a lot. They're not doing anything to claim that he's innocent. They're just pointing the finger elsewhere.
Right.
To
Right.
me, what they're
well,
doing
I have
is
a
they're not
question.
excluding him. Even if the Odinist did it, they're not saying he did not. You know,
Oh, no. They're just trying to show reasonable
Right,
doubt. That's all they're
right.
doing.
right.
So we'll
So,
see.
That's
what do you
all
think
they're
their
doing.
plan is? What do you think
What
their
do
plan
I
is?
think?
You know, if the third party is not allowed, like, what do you think their contingency plan is?
Well, they got law enforcement did make a lot of mistakes. There's no doubt about that. So they can point all those out and try and build around that. But I mean, honestly, all they have left is Logan and Klein. You know, for
Yeah.
third party. Third party is the way they were going. When
And
they
I
put
don't
out
believe
that
she's going to let
memo,
Logan and
You
Klein in. I just don't. So that's just me.
yeah, and they put out that memo, they were saying, I don't know if you guys remember it, but over and over,
Yep.
one man couldn't have done this. One man would have had to do
Yep.
this. One man would have had to do that. So they're saying
Right.
others are involved. Um,
this is what I'm afraid of what Judge Minow said right there.
You
what
what?
was that?
That's the I said that's my biggest worry is that that's going to be the angle
Yeah,
is you know attack the when we know they're going to attack the timeline, the you know the date of the murders the you know the time of death, um and so I don't know.
yeah, they haven't. I'm sure they
I'd
have
rather them go after
somewhat
law
of a
enforcement.
time of death. We haven't seen the full autopsy, content of their stomachs, anything like that. So we still not
No
have seen
pancakes.
everything, and we're gonna get to see it all if there's a trial. Well, hear about it. Those that go to the trial will be able to see and hear it all. But it's not going to be pretty. This is a horrific crime.
No, I
Um,
don't know
it.
how many notebooks will I need.
Steve, a
Oh my
lot if you were
God.
me, because I take tons of notes. But Steve said, True Crime Web said just earlier, this goes to trial. Images and things that people hear will haunt people for the rest of their
For the
lives.
rest of their lives.
For the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
This
Yeah.
is no joke, you
The
guys. This is
uh,
not a movie. This is not nonfiction or fiction. This is real people's lives. The girls' families, friends, anyone who loved them, all of these officers that have put their whole lives into trying to find this guy and deal with this guy. And then all of Richard Allen's friends, family members, parents, anybody that knew him and
well,
loved and cared about him.
when Cicero was testifying,
These people are going to be haunted.
OJ, sorry. OJ held up. She was flipping through the pictures on like letter size paper, and she was sitting directly in front of Turbo, so I could see like she was like 5 feet in front of me, and I will never forget some of the blood images that they showed. She didn't show them intentionally. She was just holding them up so she could look at them, and I just happened to be sitting at an angle where I could see right over her shoulder, and I was 5 feet away. And I mean, to see the F tree with the multiple
Blood splatter.
the multiple transfers of blood, and the pool, and like literally the pool blood at the bottom of that tree, and the pools of blood on the ground in the scene. I'll never forget it.
It's something that sticks with you for the rest of your life. He's right.
It angered me so much.
Yeah.
Because I just remember these people that were saying there's, when the crime scene photos got leaked, there were people out there saying, "Oh, they don't look that bad. Oh, that doesn't look that brutal." Because the contrast was different, and you couldn't see all the blood, but you could when you actually took the totality of the scene.
My husband is retired military. He was in for 35 years, and he's been in many war zones and many areas. And he said to me, because he knows about the case, he knows everything about the case. He's heard me for 7 years about the case. And he said, when you witness someone bleed out, it is incredible. And I'm telling you guys, I hate to say it, but we know that that's what happened to these girls. That's what happened to Abby, and that's what happened to Libby. That's what this man did to them. That's why that crime scene looked that way. That's why it was so bloody and brutal. And I know, Aspen, for years we heard, oh, it wasn't as bad as, as people think or whatever, or it was unusual or whatever. Unusual because who does that to children? What, you know what I mean? It's like, wow. I mean,
unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do that to children.
But there's a difference between cutting a child and causing them to bleed out than strangling them to death. Do you get my point here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people that unlive children, and they do it in different manners, but this one is freaking horrific. I mean, in any aspect that you look at, it's just so evil. It's beyond understanding, and we'll never understand it. And he's never going to be able to explain it, no matter what motive he gives for what he did. Will never be justification for the family. They won't. I mean, I know they want to know, but it's not. They're going to hear it, and they're going to be like, well, that's unacceptable. I mean, that's not. What does that mean? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Dala, I agree with you on that with the Odinist angle. It's more like gang activity, but that's not the way the defense is playing it. They're bringing experts in, saying that this is an Odinist ritual. Now they call it Odinite every once in a while, which cracks me up. But they're going the route of this is a ritual killing, not a gangland style. So it's hard to say. We don't know exactly what the defense is going to do, how they're going to present their information either. But they've got a long road, and it's uphill. They have a shitty client, that's for sure. But we've been going for
a hot minute,
an hour and a half. Yeah.
Are you tired?
And I'm sorry about. Actually, it's storming here. I'm worried that we're going to cut out. It's been storming here every night. It's Florida. But I'm sorry about the problems.
It's storming here too, so I apologize if I'm lagging.
No, I love your little fire going on in the back, though. To keep the bugs away from you. I love it. Your citronella. Is that what you're burning back there?
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both and Turbo and apologize to Turbo for the shortcomings on my end. We'll get that worked out. I would love to have you guys back. Maybe
Anytime,
Anytime.
friend.
after the
Anytime.
trial. I'm getting back into Evansdale now that I've gotten over this little illness, so I'll be headed
Awesome.
out that way soon.
Awesome.
And
Well, hey, I've got some questions about that. I just watched
Make
the
sure you
documentary,
stop
so I'll have to
in
ask you some
and see
questions.
me, Ruckus, when you guys come through, please. I'll make dinner for you.
it'll just be me this time.
Well, you can still stop through. I'll make
Steve,
dinner for you.
Wait,
Steve
who
doesn't like me anymore.
who's going to carry your bag?
Yeah, I already
I
told. I
don't
just
know.
want you to know I did reach out to Steve when I found out that you were in the hospital, and I told him, I said you're going to need to be his Sherpa now
Yeah,
because
I,
I was. Yeah, Steve loves
Spo-
you. He can say what
sponge
he
baths,
wants, but yeah,
he's been really busy.
sponge baths
He's
and
got so
all.
many irons, and yeah, he's got so many irons in the fire, and he's on it. I mean, he's really close with some of his cases. Um, I'm trying to get there with these other cases that I'm working at. I need to get back on to the Huff case as well. That guy's walking around Florida like nobody's business, and I'm not happy about that. But I would love to do this again with you guys, and we can
Hey,
talk about
hey,
Evansdale. I'll do some lives from Evansdale.
that would be awesome. I love it
I've got
because they
there's a
they
case
deserve it.
there's a case right down there by you that I'd like you to solve for me, Ruckus.
Which one's that?
Jennifer Kessie.
If you send me an email
She's
about
in
it, I'll
Orlando.
look at it.
She went missing in Orlando in like 2008, I think.
A child?
It's to- no, like 22, 23. Totally solvable. Just I like I don't know, like yeah. Not to mention, and her family sued the Orlando Police Department, and the family has the entire case file, which means
Oh,
I think it's definitely solvable.
yeah. If you could put me in touch with them, I'll definitely take a look at it. I've still got some work to do in
Yeah, it's an interesting
California and
case.
Nevada
So
as
I'll
well.
email you.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for your time. I mean, this is
But
fantastic. I wasn't expecting to have these problems, but I'll get them worked out, and we'll get together again. And I've been on with Kristen several times. It's great to have Turbo come on. She's never been on with me, and we've been friends for years. And I've always been a fan of yours, Aspen, and I have a lot of
I
respect
thank
love that.
you.
and admiration for you, my
It
friend.
was so nice to meet you, Turbo, and I'm sorry that you couldn't be on with us, but I'm glad that you were here. You and Aspen, like I said, you guys are really doing a rock down damn good job covering the
And I
case.
love Kristen, of course.
And I
All right.
appreciate you.
Well, guys, I appreciate it. Everybody that came in the chat and the super chats, and it's been a
Good
great
night, everyone.
conversation in chat. It's been fantastic. You guys are great. Thank you to the mods for doing a great job, and we'll get
Thank you to
together
everyone
again.
who donated to Ruckus tonight for his live stream, because these guys, it takes time to do these, and every little bit of donation helps him to go out and support these families that he does behind the scenes. And what he and Steve from True Crime Web do, I mean, seriously, they could be doing so many other things with their lives, but their hearts are right where it belongs. They want to help others. And I have so much deep respect for both of you.
Well, I'm going to bring you guys all along with this Evansdale work that I'm going to be doing.
Yay.
So
Yay.
it'll be a good trip. But
Good.
yes, thank you so much. And Ruckus, apologize to the wife for the shortcomings on your end. I love it. She would laugh like crazy if she saw that. But thank you to
Ashley, take
everybody.
care of your sweet self.
You guys have been fantastic. Laura, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. $4.99. And listen, kids, don't take any wooden nickels. And I'll talk to you all soon.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
My name is Ruckus. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm 10-7.